What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast, and I'm in Tampa, and on Facebook I said, who should I interview? Who's a contractor who's growth-minded, high-performing, either a sales leader, an owner, or a sales rep? And you were tagged multiple times by people in the industry. You've done a great job. So we're just going to go ahead and I want that the world gets to know you. I want to hear your story and what's kind of helped you succeed. Who's Robin? Robin Scherer with Trust Roofing. Let's talk a little bit about you, man. Glad
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the quick opportunity. Glad to do it. These are always fun. So who am I? So Robin Scherer. I'm owner of Trust Roofing Company. I've been doing roofing since I was 15 years old. I started with my dad. So my dad had a small mom and pop roofing company in the Los Angeles area, which, is small mom and pop. He started that in 1983. He started laying roofs himself in the 70s out there and kind of, created that company and got into the industry from there. So, yeah, I'm growing up, I got into it from there, and then eventually we moved over here to Florida in 2019. 2020, we started this company, Trust Roofing, kind of our Florida branch of our family business. And it didn't start as Trust Roofing. It was T&G Roofing, which is that old family business name. Yeah. And we switched it over to Trust Roofing, I think, in 2022 or so, and then have just started on this journey to kind of jump into the roofing industry and kind of do things our way and what have you.
So does your dad is he still involved in the business? Is he part owner or?
Yeah, so Trust Roofing is 50-50 on paper, me, my mom, and myself. So he's not on paper as any ownership, but obviously he's married to my mom. And he's not involved in the business anymore at all day to day. My mom still is very heavily. Cool. And then he's pretty much stepped back and retired and enjoying life more or less.
That's awesome, man. So you started at 15. Were you in California when you started doing roofing?
Yeah, so I started on the roof. My first job was to go quality control check TPO roofs and check the welds and check the seams for him at the end of every one to make sure his TPO roofs wouldn't leak. So that was my first job, and then I moved on from there to installing the TPO roofs, doing repairs. Eventually I was foremaning the crew out there. He had 2 crews. He upgraded to 2, and I foremaned that second one. So that was kind of my path, and then we moved over to here, and that was kind of that.
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you are loving this episode. Hey, if you're a contractor looking to scale and grow your business through sales leadership training and sales coaching and training for your team, then look no further. All you got to do is text us at 945-800-4220. 945-800-4220, okay? Or just go to our website, sellontg.com. Again, if you're a contractor and you want to grow your sales leadership training skills, your sales coaching skills, and you want to grow and help your sales reps get better, we can help commercial companies, we help residential companies, no matter what trade you're in, you just want to transform your business, okay? Come to STG. We hope to see you there. Hey, now back to the episode.
So why'd you guys move to Florida from California?
That's a good question. So I have 2 brothers who live here, and each of them have 4 kids each. So we have my mom and dad have 8 grandkids. So huge families. Cool. That was the biggest.
Well, why'd
push.
they move here? Their spouses, your brothers.
My brothers. One of them had a business here, so he's been out here working for an AI firm. And then my other brother was in St. Louis. That's where he met his wife, and he was there. He had his own business, a marketing business, and he could kind of do that from anywhere. So between a few factors, he liked the weather down there. He just liked Florida. He liked that my brother was there. Then he ended up moving over here. So then between those 2 things,
and
then
your parents wanted to be with the grandkids, and then you kind of got pulled over with them, kind of thing.
Yeah, and California is fine in some ways. There's some politics stuff that we weren't the biggest fan of.
What part
just
of California
traffic.
were you guys?
L.A.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you notice? Okay, so we'll talk about the differences. There's a lot of different things, but Florida's great. I'm from Florida originally, so love it.
I love it too. I would never, if I could do it 1,000 times, I'd be here 1,000 out of 1,000 and not California. Although I will say that I love that. I love the city. I love California.
It's fun. The energy. It's so cool.
It's such an iconic city, man. The mountains, it's beautiful. It's amazing to visit, but not to live full time. I'd rather be here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So how old are you?
28.
28. And you're married now? How long have you been married?
I have been married, man, not too long. We did 2 ceremonies. We did like a courthouse kind of That was in like September, right? And then we of last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so then we got married with a ceremony, and her family came in, and we did all that, and that was just in March.
Wow, congrats, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. So Is your wife getting involved in the business?
Oh my goodness. A little bit. She helped with some like finance and treasury stuff and some permitting administration. She helped with some of that stuff. We have our first kid on the way. So right now she's kind of like mostly focusing on that and kind of home life and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. So I just seen you on Facebook. You're super high energy owner. Is it primarily commercial roofing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our business is really about 40% commercial and then about 60% residential, but we're pretty close down the middle.
Oh, okay. And why do you choose to do both?
That's a good question. So in the LA area, my dad became focused on commercial. That's all he did. He did TPO, single ply roofs. That was pretty much all he did. He didn't do any coatings. He just did TPO installs. So obviously I got pretty good at doing those and what have you. So when we came over here, we were starting from absolutely scratch, nothing. I mean, I remember the very first lead I got was a home advisor lead. We went on there, grabbed it. I went there. Me and my dad went together. We sold the first lead we ever went to, this home advisor lead. And it was like a 6-square back flat roof we were going to do in TPO. So when there showed up, sold the guy, did it with my nephew, and me and my nephew did the job. It was like, okay, that was the very first job, right? And then we kind of did that for a little while. We started to do these little back flat roofs because TPO is kind of what I knew the most of install-wise. Eventually, we did a doctor's office. We did a bigger house. We started to get into some bigger TPO jobs. But at first, our focus here was going to be just, again, on the single ply, on the TPO. What kind of happened is, it almost happened by accident, honestly. I ended up with a group of, 4 guys or so. That was my crew. And we needed work. I had to keep these 4 guys busy. So to be there in order to do these TPO roofs we were landing, I also had to keep them busy all the time, obviously, because guys want to work. So I'm sitting there on Home Advisor. I'm like, all right, let's take some shingle jobs. Let's knock those out. So, knocked some of those out, started doing that side as well. I learned how to do shingles, how to install them. And I fell in love with that side of the business, honestly, also, too. Just like residential, homeowners got a problem. They need help with their roof.
Simpler.
Yeah, let's go knock it out. Simpler in some ways. Man, you'd be amazed. In a lot of ways, the commercial is a lot easier for me than the residential. Yeah.
How so for you?
In terms of managing the relationship, it's so much simpler, and it's such a large ticket at times. We might do we're doing a project in Largo right now. It's a $1.3 million project. I'm dealing with one owner, and that's it. I'm not dealing with it. My commercial production manager is, and it's just been a breeze of a job. Whereas sometimes we'll do a $10,000 shingle roof for repair and something go a little awry for the homeowner, and they'll, have concern or what have you. And that can be more almost challenging to manage than that huge job over there that's gone so well.
Yeah. But
in some ways we've done it for a while. So I don't know, we might kind of have that commercial knack down a little more. And certainly my commercial production manager is excellent. Mm-hmm. So, maybe that I think it's easier than it actually is. But I find more challenges on the little residential stuff at my company than I do on my commercial side.
Got it. I'd be interested in talking about your commercial sales efforts. Who sells the commercial jobs?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the beginning of the company, I sold them for the most part. And then like anything, as you grow, you delegate and you end up moving it on to other people. So then my sister was selling for a while. Okay. She is freaking bomb. She's amazing. Then my sister's best friend, this girl Olivia, started working for us. She was like 18 when she started working for us. She's been with me for years now. She ended up into sales, and she is really good at selling commercials. So she's gotten good at it. My current sales manager, Nick, sells commercial, and then I still step into the ring and I, help out here or there. I really don't often, but I will help on the big
sales,
ones.
Basically 2 people doing commercial right now, selling.
Len also sells commercial, a lot of it. And then I have other reps. So I have a total right now of 8 outside reps, and then I have my sales manager. My sister is technically a rep, but she has the same thing. She's about to have a baby in like a month. Mm-hmm. So she's mostly from home anyway, so.
Do you guys have any sort of call center or CSR team or anything that helps like set appointments and field calls, inbound, outbound, things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have 2 inside salespeople who've been with us for a while. We have a 3rd one onboarding right now. So then the idea with that is that basically each of them has a team of 3 outside reps, and they do the inbound call, the relationship building on the phone. Yeah. They help with the admin, help with the follow-up. Things along those lines. We really don't do any like cold outbound or any cold outreach. For us, our marketing is all advertising and then organic branding.
So if somebody like inquires on a form, there's still a call into that lead. It's not just all phone calls, right?
What do you mean?
Like if someone's like, I contact us form.
Right.
that's like a form into the company, and then the call center, or they have
The inside sales,
they gotta
my
call
inside
them.
sales reps goes ahead and calls out to that
Yeah.
and goes, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Qualifies it, what
But
have
no
you.
like current like B2B outbound like prospecting digitally or something like that from the inside side. It's all like appointment setting.
It's all advertising,
Yeah.
marketing, different strategies. I mean, all 8 of those outside sales reps all go to a BNI networking meeting, and they sit there with their.
So they're selling. Are there, you have designated residential reps, and then some of those designated commercial, or are they kind of all selling?
We do, and then most of the commercial, I'd say 80 to 90% of it is sold by those designated people. But we don't stop these guys. So if these guys want to go out there and build an awesome relationship with some property manager, and they bring them in, hey, we're okay with that. We are going to look at the deal a lot more. We're going to review it before it goes through, probably go on site and inspect it physically. Nick is a sales manager or what have you. But we don't stop those guys, which is helpful for them. And then, the guys who end up that's how Olivia, for example, started. She showed herself, I'm able to do this. And then the ones who do that, we kind of go, okay, those are the ones who then, if we get inbound leads and we need them to go somewhere on commercial, that's where they're going to go.
Do you have those individuals, those sales reps, perform the takeoffs and estimating, or do you have designated people that do takeoffs and estimates to partner with them on those projects?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I have it broken down through our quoting software, through line items. So it's pretty it's relatively plug and play if you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing relatively. So between the outside rep and the inside rep, they take care of it. There's no other estimator of any sort or anything like that. That kind of thing.
So you've been able to figure that out without needing you don't have a estimating software like Estimating Edge or something like that?
No, we just use Sumo Quote and we have line items.
Okay, got it. And that hasn't hurt you in commercial? You've been able to do that? That's pretty, that's cool.
Oh yeah, we've been completely fine on it. Absolutely. Our pricing, we're pretty dialed in. We're usually mid to, sometimes pretty competitive in commercial. One place I do well in roofing is that I have the labor. The labor is mine. They're my guys.
Yeah.
They're not
self-perform.
Oh my God, let me call some random sub for this big thing. No, I have my crew, Juan. He's been with me for 4 years, and he'll continue to be with me. And that's my dude. I'm not going through 3 middlemen to get to the actual guys installing the roof, which I like it that way. Because that's the side of the business that I love the most is actually the install, the product, the production. So having those guys right there, I'm able to communicate, hey, right to Juan, right to the dude who runs the guys, this is how Trust Roofing wants to roll. This is the end result we want for the clients, we want on the roof. And I'm not having to worry about the middleman sub guy that I hired. Is he as passionate as me about the roofing? I know that I am hiring the roofers and that I'm going to be able to do the best I can to dictate that passion for the install into them. Which helps on that side, and then it also helps cost-wise because the labor rates usually can be less if you have the labor directly with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so talk about your strategy with commercial. Do you typically like to extend the life of the roof and service it before you try to replace it, or do you like to coat coatings? What's your way of your typical? I heard you say TPO a lot in flat roofing. Talk about the way you view your commercial strategy.
Yeah, that's a good question. In commercial and residential, we are always, what is the best ROI for the customer, period. So if the best ROI is to do a $2,000 leak repair, that's what we're going to recommend first and foremost. Or to do a maintenance agreement for 5 years because the roof isn't that old and we know we can keep it going, then that's always going to be the first thing that the rep does. If they're like, hey, you could go either way, this is you can do a $5,000 repair, or you could just replace the roof, have a warranty, they're going to go both ways with the client. But definitely having and offering and pushing a repair side of the business is huge. We have right now, we have 9 repair techs who are in-house who all they do is they do repairs, service, warranty work, right? If we get a callback and an issue, they also deal with those, maintenance agreements. And that's all those guys do day in, week out. And that's really a feeder line into the rest of the business. You make your money on that too, but that's really what generates a lot of the relationship building, the branding, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a fact. We teach that a ton, and it's been a big part of some of the strategies that focus on service and lead with service. And 60, I think the studies are 65% of owners would want to do business with somebody they've already worked with.
Yep.
on the re-roofing job?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we did a tile job recently that was like 400 squares, a huge tile job. And we had done 20 repairs for that guy over the course of the last several years. We just kept doing repairs for him, kept fixing leaks on this huge roof. And when it was us and 2 other guys, I mean, we had the competitive edge.
So how many employees do you have right now?
W-2, we have about 80, and then, with like 1099 crews and stuff like that, it's over 100 who, people who are working for Trust Roofing.
And so tell me, like, if you don't mind sharing kind of the revenue timeline, like kind of what's the growth look like, and what do you, like, what's the period of time that you've gotten to where you are, things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Year 1 was about half of a year, it was about 500 Gs. Year 2 is about 1.9 million. Year 3 was about 7 million. Year 4 it's about 17 and a half. Year 5 was last year, which was 24. And then this year, we're going to be in the range of 33 to 36, something in that neighborhood. So it's been
amazing.
Fast growth.
So where do you think the top few things have been the reasons why you've been able to grow?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons, obviously. But I would say number one thing probably is setting a goal, like setting goals and going, hey, this is what I want to do. Because if there's a mountain and you don't say, hey, I'm going to go plant my flag on the top of said mountain, there's no way it's going to happen, right? You have to be intentional about where you're going and what you're doing. So I decided, hey, I personally saw a little bit of I felt like a challenge in the roofing industry just in terms of quality of service, care for clients, professionalism. And I don't say that to say that we're perfect in any way. We're actually far, far from it. And I look at our company now and that we've gotten so big and I'm like, damn, I see how hard this is. It's a hard industry. But I saw that problem and I thought, I can run a company that's service-oriented that can help solve these for people at a scaled level. And I decided I wanted to scale it and I set big goals. So I would say setting big goals, you're just not going to hit big goals if you don't set them.
Why do you set those big goals? What's your reason for that?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. For me, it's impact is a big thing. Like, I'm here, I'm living this life. I got to work. I mean, I'm going to work 50, 60 hours a week. I mean, I love to work, so I work more than that. But regardless, you're going to work in this life. So if you're going to do it, you might as well make as big of an impact as possible while you're doing it. Get as good as possible at whatever you're going to do. Like, if I do sales, if I do marketing, if I do roofing, I'm driven to be as good or the best at it as possible. Toward the end goal of obviously impacting the lives of my customers, of my employees, and then therefore also achieving personal success for myself.
What's some of the personal success that you long for or that you're driving toward?
Yeah, that's a good question. With Trust Roofing, we want to hit $1 billion in gross revenue. So that's like that's our big goal. We want to do 20, $50 million branches. So like take Tampa Bay, get it to 50, and then go, okay, what's that model that's successful, break it down, and then put that in 19 markets. So, that's obviously it's a personal goal, but that's, obviously a business-wide goal as well.
Wow. That's a pretty ambitious goal.
Yeah, I tell people every day, I'm a maniac, right? But I love what I do. I love the industry, and, I'm just taking it step by step. One thing, and, it's in like I have a SOP. It's called Company Purpose, SOP, or what have you. And I have that target written in there, but something that it says that's key is like, we can never get too big to where we lose our defining company spirit. Like, we can't lose that. If we lose that, then there's no point in climbing the mountain. So we have to grow with that defining quality, family spirit that got us started, which, again, that's easier said than done. So little by little.
Have you defined that spirit?
Yeah, that's a good question. You could look at core values. Our core values are, be extraordinary, customer obsession, operate with integrity. These are our core values, right? If you
Yep, 3. Those are the 3.
We have 4. You can kill me here. Let's see. Customer obsession, operate with integrity, be extraordinary. My favorite, 100% ownership. That's number 4.
Nice.
That one's huge for us. And then when you walk into like my office, you'll see those 4 up there, and then you'll see right above it our company, mission, purpose, which is create an extraordinary roofing experience. And that's all it says in my thing. I have it go into more detail, and then it has our logo there. And I have that little like drawing there in the main office, out in the warehouse. I have it wherever I can to make sure I remind people what we're doing and why we're doing it, et cetera.
So you just got me. I wanted to ask you this. Like, what have you done that's it's extraordinary? Like, what's actually like, what does extraordinary look like? How have you
That's
done
a good.
that?
That's a good question. I'll tell you exactly that, because when I go over my core values, I tell my team on this one every time. So for me and for us, being extraordinary, it kind of sounds like, well, what's being extraordinary? It's doing the little things right consistently. So if I tell you, hey, Ryan, I was right on time to that appointment, you'd be like, okay, fine. But if I told you, hey, I was right on time to 100 appointments in a row, I would be like, hey, that's pretty extraordinary to be like that on point, that consistently, like, wow, right? Or what have you, right? So it's about doing the little things right in a consistent way. That's what makes anyone extraordinary. If you look at, I'm a big sports fan. If you look at, I don't know, Kobe Bryant, right? I mean, he had some extraordinary athletic ability, but he wasn't like a Michael Jordan or a Shaquille O'Neal and having like that frame necessarily built, but he was known for his work ethic. This guy would just, all right, he's at the gym at 4 or 5 a.m., hitting it so consistently, right? And you see this guy who's just, man, he's just dominant and he wins 5 championships and he does great or whatever, but it's that consistency. It's all the little things that you don't see that guy's doing to hone his craft of, in that case, basketball, but like in our case, it's roofing.
That's really great. Tell me, what do you do when you see people on your team who aren't living up to that?
Yeah. I mean, I see it every day, and I see it in myself too, right? And you have to look in the mirror, or you have to look at the teammate, and you have to remind them, hey, look, this is why we're doing that. This is our goal. And then, that action, right, doesn't contribute to the goal. So, we need to figure out what's going on there, what have you, in order to live up to that, right? I always try to make it about, again, about the core values, about the action. It's not about the person. It's not like, oh, you're wrong, Joe, or whatever, for that thing that happened. It's like, okay, what actions contributed to this, or inaction, right? And then how can we correct that, A, with you, but B, us as a company, right? Which is the next step. It's like, okay, correct the person and the problem, but then the bigger thing is, where did the company go wrong? Because the company trained this person, he put them on board, they put all the systems in place. So it's like, okay, where can the company be better in its management and in its SOPs and in whatever?
Mm-hmm. So have you been able to ever trace back areas where you could improve, and you've done it and you still don't see any like change?
I mean, it happens all the time, right? You freaking...
What do you do about it?
You keep working on it. You try something else. You know what I mean? You do something else. You go about it in a different direction. I mean,
have you ever let anybody go for that?
If I feel like somebody consistently doesn't live up to the core values and they're just not there on the terms, not even close that I'm there on. I mean, obviously, nobody on my team is going to quite be in this thing as wildly as me, and I understand that. I acknowledge that. But if somebody just consistently isn't living up to that stuff, I have had to let some people go for sure. I never like to let people go because, again, I feel like as a leader, as a manager, as a business owner, it's my responsibility when I take somebody on that I'm going to be able to train, hire, manage, lead them, do all these things so that they can contribute to the success of the company. So if I let somebody go, I'm basically saying that more that I failed them than that they failed me, and that then I need to work on being a better leader because I shouldn't have brought someone on who I couldn't have make it.
Sure. Have you found that your sales reps need more leads if you always overwhelm them with leads?
It's gone through different periods. I've had periods where sales reps are like, oh my gosh, the leads are so slow or whatever. I've gotten that culturally. It's just gone now completely. It didn't used to be when we started out.
So have you like made leads come in? How do you make the phone ring? How are you doing that? Just break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. The number one thing that I talk about is I call it the organic snowball. So like, okay, you do one job, you need to blow that person away if you can, right? That's the whole goal. You don't just want to do a job and, it's a roof done. Anybody can do that. How do you blow that person away with great service, which comes down to, again, the extraordinary. It's all the little things. Were you right on time for the appointment? Were you really thorough and detailed with the inspection? Was your project manager on point on his initial walkthrough, on his final walkthrough? When there was an issue, was responsibility taken and it was taken care of right away, or was it kind of like half whatever, right? And I say all that, it's not that we're perfect. We're far, far from it. But I have those as like the true north of that's how a job needs to go. Because if a job goes down like that, you have won an advocate, you've won a potential referral partner, you've won a friend in the area. And if it goes the other way, one thing people don't talk about, they talk about word of mouth. Word of mouth is great. What about negative word of mouth? Do a bad job for someone, you don't take care of somebody, that's going to go a lot further than the good word of mouth will.
Wow,
so
that's good.
Yeah, so that's key for us, right? And then it's like, okay, if you're going to do a good job, then how do you take advantage of the fact that, hey, I'm going to do a good job? Well, you need to have wrapped trucks and vehicles, basic stuff. Your guys need to be insured. On our residential side, we mail mailers to all the close neighbors nearby. We have our project managers hit the 7 doors closest, say, hey, we're in the neighborhood. There's going to be noise. If you need anything, let me know. I'm a project manager with Trust Roofing, right? Getting our brand out there. We have a billboard. Like I said, those reps are out in BNI networking meetings. They're on Facebook posting. I'm on Facebook posting, right? So it's just all of these little organic things that kind of come together.
So is that all of it, or do you do paid? And
for sure. Yeah, we do Google paid ads, Facebook paid ads, local service ads. Yeah, that's a big part of it. But I will say that like marketing budget wise, I'm not at 5%. I'm way less than that. I'm at like 2.5%. So I try to, that other 2.5% exists though, and it's going into trying to freaking create a good client experience. So it's going in on that side of things, which is the best marketing you can do, in my opinion.
So let's just say, I know sounds like a visionary. So let's just say you get to 50 million, tomorrow, and now you're like, I want to go to the next market. I want to go to create the next $50 million market. Are you going to like move your family and do that? Or are you going to hire a GM? How are you going to like replicate what you've created somewhere else and drive leads and have success in another market? And also, where are you thinking next?
Yeah, it's good questions. I've learned some lessons on that because I tried to do that before. I tried to put another market in Fort Myers when we had Hurricane Ian hit, and I did that. I had a physical office. I had a branch manager. I had the whole nine going for a little bit, and it didn't quite work. I expanded at the time beyond what the company was set up for SOP-wise, and also beyond the people that we had who were able to be on the seats, I feel like. Not that anyone wasn't good enough, but it was just we weren't set up at that time enough for it. So looking at that now and then looking at, okay, how do you not do that? I think, first of all, I'd likely go through going ahead and buying up a company acquisition, a company that's 10 to 20 mil, but that's got leadership there that cares. It's got, crews, it's got sales reps, it's got some of the basics together that care, right, and can, align with our core values. And then at that point, it would be, again, plugging in, SOPs and some standards and some stuff like that, and then growing that out rather than trying to start from scratch somewhere.
Do you think that like rebranding is risky to rebrand them, or would you like keep it like a Trust Roofing company, but it's their old brand and keep their brand and their reputation there?
That's a good question. I guess it would depend on the brand. It would depend on, how strong I felt like that was. If I thought that was really strong, I'd probably leave it. If it was, J and S Roofing, I'd probably scrap it and go for Trust Roofing because I think it would be stronger. But it would depend on what the brand was. If it was some badass brand in the area, like, Knights Roofing, and they're badass and awesome, and they got their core values, and they're doing great, I might not rebrand that, But if it's, just depends.
So I was just talking to somebody, and they were like saying how challenging it is to just kind of market and pay for leads in a new market that you don't have authority in. It's like 3 times as expensive.
Yeah.
So like, you want to keep the Trust Roofing brand, yes, but just going into a new market isn't as easy as it sounds,
right?
Because there's other big players who are the big dogs there that you got the defending you
and
off.
the clients know about them, et cetera.
Yeah. So I was just curious your thoughts on that, and because you're helping in this grow so fast, but you're here, right? Like your energy, your maniacal focus, and all the things that your obsession is here. So I'm just curious, how are you going to like do that somewhere else? How is that going to be replicated?
That's a good question. I mean, you have to have a management team in place who has the same vision and who has some extent of the maniacal obsession or whatever the heck you want to call it. And, I wouldn't say like everyone at my company's like that, but I have a few, who I feel like, that guy there, I can just count on him. And I know that they care as much or almost as much about this thing that I do and the actions that they take. So, you have to have an executive team like that in order to even just be the size I am. I couldn't do this alone. I have, my sales manager, my executive production manager, my director of marketing, yada, yada. So,
do you think you can do this without like a private equity partner?
Yeah. I don't plan to like take one on. I mean, and whether I can do it or not, I mean, man, I remember driving in my truck, like when I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm on my way to do some shingle roof. And I remember thinking, man, this is before I had any of this vision or anything. I thought, man, if we could just do like $3 million a year someday, man, my whole world would be set. I would never need to do anything again. So that's where I was at then. So if you told me then, hey, you're going to do 34 or whatever, you're going to have this big company, I would have told you, man, you're crazy. So I don't know yet if I can or can't. I just know that, I've kind of set my sights on it, and I just try to take it one step at a time from there.
Yeah. So on a personal side, how are you managing being married and with a kid coming?
I take some time on weekends and then nights and what have you as best as I can. Definitely with the kid coming, I'm going to have to figure out more, because that's going to require a lot more. And I want to be there a lot for my kid. I know that my mom and dad were there for me when I was growing up, and it's just so important. So
yeah, that's wild. I'm having my 6th soon. So
no way, really? Oh my God!
Family, and it's
wow.
It's the best thing in the world being with your kids, but it also takes away from your family, or from your business.
Well, of course.
And so it's a reality. You gotta, like, how are you gonna do it? So I'm just curious if you're thinking about it, because it's a lot.
Yeah, no, I am thinking about it, and I'm gonna experience it as it comes, but I'm gonna definitely make sure that that I'm there, and I look forward to it a lot.
So what's your biggest mistake or regret that was like the most painful lesson that's helped you grow so far?
I mean, I have so many. My biggest painful lesson, regret.
Just like really like expensive mistake, or one that really helped you grow.
Yeah. I mean, a mistake early on. We were roofing this church. It was in summer here, and I hired a sub crew. Right, like we had this big residential shingle job that we sold over here in a different area of town. So I hired a sub crew to do those shingles. I was like, okay, good. They're going to take care of that, and then my in-house crew is going to take care of this over here. So this was the first time as a company I even was going to have 2 jobs going on in a day. Before this time, I always was the foreman, and I was on site the whole time. So now I have 2 of these things going on. Anyway, so we have this church. It's about 140 squares. We're doing this roof. Day 1, we cover up a bunch of it. We knock it out. I was there, whatever. So day 2, I'm supposed to go here and deal with this job start that we're doing that the subcrew is going to be at, make sure that goes well. This is like a 11, 12, huge house, whatever, also an important project. So I leave this one, leave it to my foreman, leave it to my guys. We know that rain is going to come around we think like 3 o'clock, and we figure, okay, we can knock that area out easily by then. It's not going to be an issue, whatsoever. So I get over here, I'm rocking and rolling, and I'm kind of in touch with the guys, and I'm in touch with them and whatever, and they, kind of giving me positivity. Oh yeah, it's going to be fine. We're going to be good, more or less. Ended up not being good. Rain came earlier than expected, and not just rain. I mean, because here in Florida, we'll get your summer shower. We have it come in and out for 15, 30 minutes. You get that all the time. Little 5-minute storms, 20-minute storms, they happen. We got hours and hours of the worst torrential downpour you've ever experienced. And this roof over here, anything that could go wrong, I mean, their robot welder went down while they were rolling. So then my dad was driving. He went to Atlantic Equipment or somewhere at the time, ABC something, got one, trying to bring, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Anyway, this one over here ended up being kind of an unmitigated disaster. The church job that we were in the middle of, this one over here actually had some leaks also on it. The residential job they're on, not near as bad, but it had a few as well. So I remember just hearing that, from my foreman at the time, he's like, Robin, he called me on the phone. He's like, Robin, it's leaking at this church. And he said, it's not leaking a little. This is really bad. And he's like, I could tell. He's just like, what the heck? What are we going to do? I call the owner, and I remember I'm driving to the church, and I just call the owner. Amal is her name. And I said, hey, look, Amal, I heard what's going on. I just want you to know I'm on my way, and just so you know, I'm going to take care of it. Me and my mom, we're going to take care of this, whatever that means. We will take care of this. This was our bad. This is not on you. This is on us. We got you. This was our mistake. So anyway, I'm on my way over there. This was I think it was the 3rd building in this complex we were doing. There were these commercial complexes. The church leased it out though. So we get there, we meet some dry out guy. We start going along. I think in my head, okay, good. I'm going to put this toward insurance. Let's go toward insurance. That's what our insurance is there for. So in our insurance, we have an open water disclusion in it. So it won't cover it for that reason, because the roof is open, and if the roof is open, and then it doesn't cover that. B, it actually had a disclusion in it against churches as well. So I was double counted out. If the building was owned or occupied by a church, the insurance didn't cover it. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting disclusion, right? So I had 2 disclusions in here, which were just rough. We were early in business, so maybe we didn't get the best whatever insurance companies writing us policies, and A, that, and B, we didn't review it. We didn't know what to look for. So anyway, that was a bad situation. So I'm like, okay, well, the insurance won't cover it. Her building's insurance wouldn't cover it for various reasons as well. So then it's kind of like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to try to run from this? Are we going to try to say, oh, we got some fine print in our contract somewhere, we're not owning it or whatever, or are we going to just lean into it? And we decided we just leaned into it. This thing cost us, I forget off the top, what exactly it was. We didn't even really keep track of it, but it was well over $200,000, maybe $250, could have been even $300. And we did not have the money in a bank account. We did not have the money to deal with this. So we went into debt. I remember running my personal credit cards to cash flow, like pay Beacon Roofing Supply on their account. And I'm over here roofing with my crew. We're trying to do as many profitable roofs as possible. And then I have another crew of guys who are dealing with the floors over here, the drywall, the ceilings. I mean, everything in this church had to go, redoing the kitchen, furniture. I mean, you name it over here, right? It was just whatever, right? Baseboards, right? Light fixtures. And so we have a crew dealing with that. Well, then I'm trying to do roof after roof to cash flow that debacle, if you will. So that was early on in the business. But one thing I remember is that night after I went over there and I saw the amount of damage and I saw what had happened. And I was like, I considered seriously like giving up. Like you think, and should I just give up? Should I run? Like you actually have that thought because it's so much to confront. You almost can't confront it. You're like, how can I even confront this? And I don't know, I don't know where I found it in me. Honestly, my mom was very, very helpful because my mom is just very interesting. She's just like something like that can happen. She'll just be kind of like, okay, and what's the next step, And like, all right, let's do the next little thing. Let's do the next right thing to get through whatever this situation is. And she's very good at that. So I think that I couldn't have done that without her as well. But we just pushed through that. But that for sure was an early, like giant mistake, but also a defining moment because it's like, you'd be amazed the things you can push through, like as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a human being, the amount of, just push through that a lot of us have within us. You just don't know until you really enact on it. But, you can't decide to give up. If you give up, it's over. So.
It's good. It's good, man. You can't really beat somebody who won't quit.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's hard,
Yeah, that's a good story. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
That's real. That's a real one. And I think so how do you feel on the other side of that? Do you feel, go ahead.
One other thing I'm going to tell you, this is the end of that story, which is interesting. So that owner, Amal, we ended up doing 2 more buildings in that complex for her. So she hires us to do another one. I have her phone number and I can call her right now if I want to, and I can try to pitch her to do more roofs for her. They own a lot of buildings. We haven't done one for her in a few years, but I still have the relationship.
That's super powerful, man. That's really good. So I was going to say on the other side of that, and it sounds like but like how do you feel kind of walking from that into the future with other deals and like that mistake? Is it like you have a formidableness in you that you didn't know you had and now you have, or is it just like wisdom and you measure twice, cut once, you're more just like how do you, what the upside of just not quitting? Obviously other than like you have a good business, but what became of you that you now would say from that lesson?
Yeah, you definitely get a more cautious mindset when you go through things like that. You really, you don't know how you can fall or fail always until it happens to you, And one thing that I've tried to learn from that I'm far from perfect about too, but is trying to learn from other people's mistakes also.
Yeah.
Not just learning from your own, because I've learned from my own so many times. So trying to learn from other people's mistakes.
How are you doing that?
It's a good question. Listening more and looking at people who have been through, what I've been through, like scaling this company. I mean, one thing that I didn't pay enough attention to early on at all is like, okay, the insurance, like the fine print, what's in there, right? Or, okay, like your contracts, you like as a company, your legal rudiments, right? These things are very, very important. But when you're a small entrepreneur, a small business owner, you think, oh, that stuff's not that important. We got to get the roofs done. We got to take care of these clients, right? But you can learn from other businesses' mistakes when you do that. Because if you look at like what, I don't know, a $100 million company or $1 billion company, what they do on that side of things, man, they are just ironclad and they just do not mess around with that side of their business. And there's a reason for it. And it's situations like this one I just went over, or it's, other situations that you could just rattle off. So learning to try to learn from other people and not just think, oh, that I know it all. But at the same time, I still make those same mistakes, even though I've had that realization. So it's a tough one. It's a constant growing journey.
No new construction for you?
New construction, some.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like one of our biggest markets. I find the margins on those are like not always, but a lot of the times a bit tighter than what you can find in other spots. Like the number one niches for us are like individually owned properties, or an individual who owns 10 to 15 property management companies, condominium associations. These are the ones I find where the margins are still able to be pretty good in commercial. So again, some new construction, but I find in a lot of new construction, it's more of that race to the bottom in terms of price point. So
for sure it is.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people you're looking up to in the industry that you're learning from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, one of the number one things I remember early on when I'm roofing out of my house in Odessa, out of my garage, I watched a video that Roofing Insights did on Apple Roofing, and they did a video on these guys. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, who the hell are these guys? Like, these guys are playing chess, and everyone else are playing like some checkers in the industry. Like, they are running the supply in-house, and they have this facility, and they look more like a tech company than a roofing company, but really just it looked like they were just trying to drive professionalism toward it.
Yeah.
And
we work with them, by the way. They're a customer of ours.
Oh, do you? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I saw these guys, and I was like, wow, man, that's just, amazing. So I remember seeing them early on, and I thought, man, that's amazing. Jason Reisman with Eustace Roofing, those guys are really, really amazing when you look at
They're
like
Central Florida, those guys?
They're, in like Ocala, Central Florida, Orlando. When you look at like the culture toward roofing and the laborers, the installers, and how much attention and he puts on that side of his business, and the in-house process, in-house laborers, in-house dumpster, in-house equipter, just kind of that vertical integration factor within roofing that he seems to be really good at from everything I've seen. That was definitely an inspiration to a lot of what we do as well.
That's cool. Anybody on the commercial side?
Not as much, those two. And I watched like a lot of those. Like I watched a lot of those Roofing Insight tours of just various companies, and
he's got a lot of resi guys.
He's got mostly resi guys. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
On the commercial side, I don't know. Not as much.
I gotta connect you with some of my people, man. I got some really fantastic operators. A lot of the top 100 guys, a lot of commercial guys, doing some special things to their business. But that's great, man. I love. So, what are the last couple of questions as we round this out? So, Robin, you've been really aggressive on like camera. Aggressive is not the best word. You've been very active on camera and like media. How long have you been doing that? How's that going? What's that rhythm look like? How are you doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember when I even started that. I remember some of the first reels that I did. I think that I saw like I don't know, maybe Gary Vee is one of these guys. Just they just push. Hey, you got to get out there on social media. This is why attention, blah, and you kind of see that. And you're like, okay. And it's one of those things where I kind of used to say to myself, oh, well, that's not me though. I don't do that. That's somebody else who does that or whatever. And you kind of have to break out of your shell in the first couple in order to do it. And I kind of did. And
you're doing it for a few years now.
Definitely doing it for a few years. Definitely very consistently for like 2 years, like extremely consistently.
So how do you do it? Like, hey, I'm going to go on this job. I have a camera guy full time. Do they edit and post for you? Do you do any of it yourself?
Yeah, so it's gone like anything. It's gone through stages. So it started with just flip my phone around and just talk about the roof, talk about the job, talk to the camera, turn it around, talk about what we're doing, do all that, which I still do that, and then take that post and I just go ahead and post it, do that myself. I still do that again now, but I do have a marketing director now. I had a different girl on marketing. She's now doing something else. I have a really good marketing director right now. I mean, he's a pro. He's very good. So if I want to go to a job site, he'll come with me. We'll take, try to get 4 or 5 reels at a job site. And I try to if I'm going to a job site, I'm going to quality control that too. I'm going to make sure that the project manager is on everything, that he is installing that thing correctly, that is this. So I'll try to kind of do a couple things, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, if you will. Talk to the homeowner, whatever. So anyway, he'll come out, do that, and then he'll use those for our own personal, like Trust Roofing social media, and then he'll send them to me, and then I still post them, to ours. But that's kind of the process there. So he's full-time on that.
Most content is capturing projects in the middle of, like, what are you doing? What are we working on? That's the majority of your content.
That's the majority of the content we've done. I had a podcast for a little bit with my previous marketing manager, and we're looking at getting that started again because I love stuff like this. I just love talking to people, opportunities to meet people, business owners in the area.
What would you make it about? Like more, sorry, you were saying.
So that's what we did at the time. We called it the Trust Business Podcast, and we had local business owners in Tampa Bay.
Good relationship building.
Yeah, it is, because that's a business owner. He has a business. He knows people, and he sees my office, sees my setup, meets me. It's a whole thing.
Trust you.
Yeah, or it might be someone I already know, and then we can build that relationship up some more and just have a really good chat. And hopefully, at the end of the day, it's other business owners, so I'll learn something. Hopefully, they might be able to learn something from me. Mm-hmm. I want to get that going again. We're working on like a little YouTube series we're going to do where they're going to be more professionally recorded, like 7 to 10 minutes long. We're going to call it like Raise the Roof, and it's going to be like, all right, just basically a job and a full start to finish, like cuts of that job and how it kind of goes through and what you run into during a job. So we're working on that, but I'm really working on building that out more because I think it's key. If you talk to like clients who go with us, they say 2 things. They say your reviews, like we saw your reviews, and then we see you on Instagram or we see you on Facebook. We've watched so many of your videos. And people say, oh, I've watched your videos for years. Like you hear that from people and you're just kind of like, you watch my video, like you watch my videos actually, like, oh gosh, I'm sorry. No, but really, but you're kind of whatever about it. But for other people out there, they actually do. The repetition builds up. If you advertise organically on Facebook, like your reels that we run ads at, or just then the organic for the guys who do follow you, I mean, it does build up over time.
That's cool, man. I love it. And your marketing manager's running the paid campaigns?
Yeah, he is. We have a consultant who runs the paid Facebook ads separate, and he does
an industry guy?
No, it's just this dude named Ryan. He is awesome, man. I shouted him out on Facebook one time because he's just so good. His name's also Ryan, but I shouted him out, and no, he's just amazing.
That's cool. So, last couple questions. What do you think is like some of your biggest weaknesses right now that you want to get better at, that as an entrepreneur or a leader, or personally that you need to address? Work on?
That's a good question. I mean, in regards to the business, which is what I'm over, I think that we just need to work on our quality of product and just how good it is, because that's, I think, the number one place that almost any roofing company suffers from. Like, I don't suffer from lead flow or lack of it or lack of being able to sell. I mean, to some degree I do, but for me, the biggest problems come from just how good of a product do I install, and if I can get that fixed and addressed to the greatest, of ability or whatever, that's going to be the number one thing that I think drives us home. So that's what I'm working on right now more than anything, is just the quality of my installs, my project management, like the actual product that we deliver. That's the number one thing for us right now.
So what is your top shingle you think's the best product that you've installed, not so great product you've installed, and then TPO like systems and single ply systems rather?
What's the question?
Like, what's your favorite systems, like companies, brands, like, or whatever?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, in terms of TPO, I mean, man, they're very comparative. I like GAF. I like Carlisle. I've done a lot of both of those. We did a lot of Versico in California. I really like the PVCs. I work a lot with IB PVC. I like their product.
Nice.
I mean, Duralast, it's a good product. I haven't really installed a whole lot of it, but I'm familiar with it, and I'm familiar with FiberTite. I'm familiar with all of them. We do a lot of IB PVC, and I found offering PVC more and more. I think it's a better product long term. I mean, it's a little bit more, but I think it's just got to beat a little bit in terms of product.
Okay.
Shingles, again, we're a GAF company. I think GAF is a good shingle. I think Owens Corning is a good shingle. I think that it really, again, it comes back to how well do you install these products is the key. More so than just the product itself. But, the problem with shingles is just in Florida, they're 15, 20 years, and then you're going again at them. So I don't think that's the most sustainable, but it is very budget friendly, so it's still the biggest market mover.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Awesome. It's been good to have you. Do you have any questions for me or before we wrap up? I mean, you probably weren't expecting that, but...
No, man. I mean, how did you get into roofing?
Yeah, so funny story, and we're gonna end it after this.
Yeah.
So I was a baseball guy. I played college and pro ball, and after baseball, I moved to South Florida from my travels and playing around, and I met my wife, and I was like selling admissions. I was like an admissions sales rep for like a Kaiser type company or a Kaplan University. I was doing that. And then I was just like, man, I got to figure out how to make money. And I was on with a headset, just calling people all day and then bringing people into the office and touring them and trying to sell they're already in debt, and they don't have any money, and trying to sell them a really, once they sign that loan, it was like, sweet, I got my admissions paperwork, and I'm gonna, it's like $100, and then like half of them don't even get the loan. It was just it didn't feel super good.
Yeah.
So I was at our church. I met this guy. He was like, bro, you should get into sales. I'm like, you're a competitor. You're a communicator. If I knew you, I'd hire you in a heartbeat. If I had one of my other companies, I was like, well, I never really heard that, because I was coaching baseball. I was like doing youth stuff. I was just trying to find something. So through him, I met a guy who happens to be one of the most well-connected people in South Florida. When he and I got together, he said, hey, there's a guy that I think would be a perfect fit. He's a former football player at University of Miami. He's at the time was in his late 50s. He's a brilliant business guy, one of the best business people I know, and he owns a roofing company. And this guy has started a software, and he wants to take it, and the guy who's running it with him right now wants to move to Michigan, and he needs a replacement. And so that software was called followuppower.net at the time. It's now followupcrm.com. And it's a sales pipeline management software with goals and analytics and follow-ups, and brought more transparency and accountability to help make the pipeline grow. And then you can start to see your numbers and make things more predictable. So as I got in with him, I just saw, he was doing 25 million at the time. He just sold 18 months ago to private equity, and I think they were doing about 95 million, all in South Florida. So that's
Which company was that?
It's called Best Roofing.
Wow.
Bestroofing.net. You can look them up. So really great experience. And I was there when they went from 25 to 50, and I worked out of their office, and I demoed the software to the industry and using their data live. So I was like, look at this guy selling, and look at this sales process, and so I was able to share the impact of sales strategy, comp plans. And then I was also the sales trainer, and also helped with every part of their sales department, and got to use them as like a lab. So I saw that as I was in this vantage point of what a really professionally ran sales organization, a really great business looks like, and I was selling to the industry, I saw most of those owners and those sales people and those sales leaders didn't really have the structure in place to scale.
Right.
So I started realizing the impact of consulting and training and coaching in a process. And that's when I, started to add that service to the CRM, and I found myself really enjoying that. Plus, I'm not a coder, and I couldn't make the software like crazy better, and we didn't really have a big budget. So I was like, this is how I can add values, by adding coaching. So I did that for 4 years, and I'm like a 27-year-old to 32, just coaching. But, I'm an athlete, and I love teams, and I was in a really great place where I was learning hands-on, and then I also just love people, and I just felt like a big calling behind it. So I got a lot of domain expertise in that journey, and then started kind of wearing that mentor hat to companies who want to grow, and provided systems, process, and training to help them succeed. And I just enjoyed the vantage point of this is where you are, this is where you want to be. And so then after I realized that was kind of more my call, that wasn't a software company calling, we moved on, part ways wonderfully. I started STG, Sales Transformation Group, because I wanted to transform companies into high-performing sales organizations. And so I was attracted to more of the growth-minded companies. What do they do? What do they not do? What separates them from the rest? And just started to kind of create content and productize some of those pathways to help people succeed.
Wow. I love it, man. That's an amazing story. And I see you guys all over the place, and you're one of the if somebody asks in Facebook, hey, who can do sales training? Who can do, especially commercial sales training?
Yeah.
Boom. Like you said, at 3 times, you're at it probably 10 times. So you've done a good job. You made a name for yourself.
Thanks, man. It's definitely, we're trying, but you got to continue with all the things you're talking about. I'm doing the same stuff.
Little by little, every day, it's another day, man.
You got to make the product, the experience, all the things. So I appreciate you joining. And for those of you, those interested in kind of connecting with you more or following you, how can they be in touch?
Yeah, Robin Scherer on Instagram, Facebook, any of the above. I think some of them it's like Robin Roofer. I've been posting TikToks lately.
Nice.
I get a lot of funny feedback on there. And any and all of the above though, and reach out to me, message me, and yeah, we can connect.
Sweet. Thanks, brother.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep.